up to the floor. It was high. Yeah. That was very interesting. But narrow roads again. Oh, yeah.
We're live.
Okay, we're live. All right, this is Jeannie Johnston, and I am interviewing Mrs. Maggie Carmichael. We're at the Pacific Tsunami Museum in Hilo, Hawaii, and the date is March 3rd, the year 2001. So, Maggie, if you would start out by telling us a little bit about what it was like growing up on the Big Island, just a little, and then...
Well, we were a family of 8 children, and father, mother, and my little tutu Hawaiian grandmother. And we lived in the school cottage at first in Waiohina, and my mother taught at Waiohina School. And that's where I went to school for 6 years. Then they built the Na'alehu School, so we moved down there to Na'alehu. And I graduated from Na'alehu School in the 8th grade. From there, I went to Kamehameha School for Girls. When I was done there, then I went to the University of Hawaii, Manoa for 5 years and got my teaching certificate. And then went out and taught school, just like my mother. Yeah.
Did you teach on the Big Island as well?
Yes, the first time I got to go back to my school in Na'alehu. And the principal that I had as a child was still the principal there. She still treated me like a child. So I decided that was enough, so I asked to be transferred. So from there, I went to Maui and taught there. And then the war broke out, of course, and no school for a while.
Now, in 1946, where were you?
I was staying with my mother in her home in Honoapo. And her house was up on, above and back of a high cliff right by Honoapo Bay. And there was a long pier and a shed over it, which was at least 40 feet high. And got this telephone call about 7 in the morning from a tenant of my mother's. Said, Maggie, there's a tidal wave. I said, no, Allie, you fooling me. He said, no, this is for real. So I went out to the front yard, and sure enough, you saw the wave go way, 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 way out and build up and build up. It's not like a normal wave. It just builds and builds and builds. And it came in one whole sheet, covered the whole shed, took off all the tanks, the gas tanks from Standard Oil. It just uprooted the trees where the wave receded again. No wharf, no shed, no anything. It was just, oh boy, it was very scary. But we knew we were safe because of the very high cliff, which was about 60 feet high. And this wave was at least 40-something feet. Yeah. But then we went to school, and then that day our principal said she wanted all the children to go down there to see the outcome of everything. So she ordered the buses, because there's always that surge throughout the whole day, back and forth, back and forth, until finally it died down to nothing. And so the kids saw some of it anyway, but very leery. Yeah.
And then in 1975, could you describe where you were living?
Well, my husband and I had built a beach house, a little A-frame across from Punaluu Beach, Black Sand Beach. And I had retired from teaching in July. And this was the day after Thanksgiving. I said, Mickey, let's go out to Punaluu for the weekend. So we packed up our food and whatnot and went out there. You know, we had fun. We went to sleep. The next morning, about 4 o'clock, whoa, it just shook that A-frame. I'm telling you. And so I yelled to my husband, tidal wave. So he said, let's get downstairs, get dressed, and leave. So we did go downstairs. The water was in the house already, because we had French doors. And I went to open the doors. I said, And so we rushed out the back door, because we had decking all around. And as we were going out, this is the funny part. He and I both smoked. Isn't that awful? But we both smoked. And we'd been to KMC to get our cigarettes and everything else. And I said to him, Mickey, do you have cigarettes? He said, no. Okay, I ran back in the house and grabbed some cigarettes. Then we ran out again, and he said, did you turn off the electricity? I said, no. So back again in the house. It's a good thing that that wave was about 13 feet high. And so finally we got out, try to get down the back stairs, no stairs. So we had to jump and with water up to our knees. Our tank was gone, our shed was gone. So he said, grab my hand, and so we walked over toward Baby Dahlberg, the corner of her lot and ours. So we jumped over what was left of the stone wall, and we went up, and then we could hear this gurgling sound. And my husband said, uh-oh, let's get close to the house. That's a cesspool. So we went by, and then we went out from her yard, and we were going up the street by the restaurant when these friends of ours came down to check on us to see if we were okay. But I was running. I was running. Good thing the electricity was cut off at the main highway. We would have all been electrocuted. We really would have. But my husband decided he had never seen a wave before, so he stood there with them. And that's when the second wave came in and took our house and smashed his car. And then the next day we went down, and oh boy. And the National Enquirer photographer was there. And he said to me, sit down there and look sad. I said, for crying out loud. I feel it in here, but how am I going to show you that I look sad? I'm shocked. You know, everything was gone, complete. We found some of our lumber way down at South Point. There were turtles stuck in the rotting coconuts. There were cans of goods from the restaurant, bottles of liquor, furniture, you name it. And the amazing thing is the bottles were not opened, and yet there was sand in the bottom of them. We still can't figure out how that sand could get into an unopened, sealed bottle. But then, who should be appearing first on the scene? The hippies. Because the police didn't even know that anything was happening. Everybody was interested in Halape. So I had to phone the police to come on down to set these people out and put up signs saying no entrance unless you're coming to help. So they did, but the road was completely covered, and my husband, being an engineer, asked that they send a bulldozer to clear off that road. And so that was okay. But then we stayed in Punaluu with these friends of ours because their house was set up. But the wave went in and up around their house, up to the 9th hole, I guess, of the golf course. And it completely destroyed the whole interior of the restaurant. But poor turtles. There were some lovely young people that came in, barefooted and all, and picked up the turtles and took them back to the ocean. Fish all over, dead fish, everything. But oh, what a sight to see. And there was our smashed car. Oh, yeah, it was really a bad, bad one. But it happened so fast. But you know, when that earthquake shook, we got up because we were sleeping in the loft. There were flashing pinkish lights in the back of the house. And we said, how come the poles, electric poles, are all on the out front on the beach area? Why would this flash? They still can't figure it out because this professor from the university, Fox or something, phoned my husband to find out. They still can't figure out why this flashing lights. And what caused them? I don't know. But at least we got out with our lives. And we were very grateful for that. But we lost everything. Then it was after that that we were at Mayor Matayoshi, I think, was the mayor. He said, do you have flood insurance? We said, no, our agent didn't say anything to us about floods. He said, well, if you had flood insurance, you would have been covered for your home. So we lost everything. And we've never rebuilt. So now I have turned that property over to my daughter. And she's renting it out to a person who builds catamarans and all and lives down in Punaluu. Yeah. So.
Well, what would your advice be to people when they hear the siren? When there's a
Get up to high ground as fast as you can. Because even now, I'm leery of the ocean. If I hear change, or I look at the ocean, I see I said, I'm getting out of here. It gives you a feeling of, you're just scared. So I am very careful. In fact, I can't go down to the beach like I used to, stay out all day fishing or getting opihis or picking pipipis, and eating what I can find on the beach. Yeah. Now, what with my poor legs and everything else, I can't get around as well. I can't even run anymore. So I've given that all up in my old age.
Is there anything else you can think of you'd like to add?
Well, not really. Just if you see the ocean receding, no matter how far out, seek high ground to save your life. Material things don't count, but a life does. Yeah.
That's great.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm. Boy, I'm telling you. That's such an awful feeling. But as I say, when something like that happens, I draw a curtain. Because what's past is past. You can't bring it, and look this way toward the future. And that is it. And that's what I've done. We're able to recover some things, very little, in the way of maybe towels or something. But our refrigerator, our freezer, and everything was all lost, completely.
Did anybody lose their life at Punaluu?
Not as far as I know. And the only two that lost their lives over in Halape were Dr. Mitchell and one other person. I think a cowboy or something. They fell in this crack in the ground, and then the wave came. I knew of another school teacher that got caught in it. She was down there also camping, and she got washed, but she got tumbled into some bushes, and that saved her life. Yeah. And then there was Claude Moore, who was with the Boy Scouts, and he was digging sand out of him for years and years. Yeah. But on the whole, the Boy Scouts saved the adults because they had first aid and everything else, so they knew exactly what to do. Yeah. But Mariyoshi finally came out, Ed Harada finally came out and didn't realize that Punaluu had really caught it too. Yeah, and there were other people down there. Did you interview Mr. Kalani?
John Kalani?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Yeah, I think his family was down there.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And they scooted up toward the church area, which is up on high knoll. Yeah, a little Hawaiian church up there, the graveyards. Uh-huh. Yeah. He's interesting to talk to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But other than that would be it.